with new garlic healthy blood sugar formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch a Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Life doesn't slow down after 55. It just changes. The moments may look different, but they matter just as much. Maybe you're celebrating family milestones or taking that trip you've always promised yourself. At Capital Health Plan Center for Healthy Aging, your My Vitality plan helps you stay ready for it all with personalized care and support built around what matters most to you. Because there's still so much ahead. Call 850-399-9039 to learn more.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon, there is one every few weeks. That's why the Seventh Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials, too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, Seventh Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The Seventh Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV begins right now. Let's see if the experiment works. There's Ira. Say hello, good sir.
Hi, Jeff.
Corey. Say hello. No, he's not up.
How about now? How about now?
There it is. There
we go.
Now we're golden. All right, just had to do that out the gates because Corey's in Atlanta. Ira's here. I'm here, but we're all good. We're all off and running. Here we go.
And Corey's got a new background. What are we doing here now?
Just white on
really,
white?
it's just white. It's just plain white. It's still the same house.
We're not getting the glimpse into the kitchen anymore.
No, I know. I figured that. I'm just going to look completely like a hostage video now. You don't even know where I am. Parts unknown, Ira. Parts unknown. There is a window right out here, so I do have daylight right there.
Good.
Let's do the obligatory, but always happy to do so. Yay, sausage!
Guys, I went to our local Publix last night, do a little pick up a few things that we missed over the weekend, and the locals are just raiding registers.
So,
I went late last week and it was packed, and then I went last night and it's already down. Like they're just, I think we're doing too good.
Are they not stocking enough?
I don't know. I think we're doing too good. We're spreading the word too good. FSU fans, Tallahassee residents are just hoarding all the registered sausage. But listen, if you go to your local grocery store and it's not there, they don't have all the different varieties you want. You can ask for it. Or go to registermeats.com and they'll have it delivered. It's easy peasy.
Ira,
people like doing their shopping at home anyway.
Was there a promo code for the soccer team? What has Ben doing here if we don't have a promo code?
You guys talk for a second. Let me look.
Oh, he's going to look it up. There has to be. Ben is solid that way, and good job, Corey. That's the way we're supposed to.
I think we just make one up.
Lead the show.
Like there was one.
It should be goal, and it just should be GOOOOOOOOAAAA. I don't know how many O's and A's you want in there.
But it has to be exactly the right number of A's and O's.
And if you don't get it right, you're not getting the promo.
Yeah, you don't get it. Sorry.
But if you get it right, it's free. There you go. It's free if you can get it right.
But if you go to registermeats.com is the website, and anywhere in the country, they'll deliver it to you in the continental United States. We're still not sure about Hawaii. But if you go to your local grocery store, if you're in this part of the country in the Southeast, ask for registered sausage. If you haven't tried it yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. We've been telling you about this for years now. Go try some registered sausage, the andouille, the jalapeno cheddar, the breakfast links, all the varieties.
Can you imagine being a freshman in that situation and making those saves at 18 years old, or I assume she's 18 or thereabouts, like most freshmen are? Imagine.
He said her 19th birthday was yesterday.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
Just turned 19.
yeah, she's 19 years old making those saves. She may go on to be a much better goalie and develop and become even greater than she already is, but she'll never make as many important saves in her life as she did last night. That's incredible.
She was unconscious.
What a cool effing thing to happen. I would have been way too immature to handle that kind of success. I would have gone on a bender for months after that. That's nuts.
There was something about that team, man. I just thought, especially as there were some jitters early, and a few different players seemed like they were having some jitters early, but I felt like in the second half they just took it to Stanford. I mean, I thought they were more physical, more aggressive, gritty, tough.
The antithesis of the first half where they got dominated.
But I think she played that way too. Like, I think there was like I don't know, man. It was just magical to watch them play. Corey, I know you were watching it too, but like it was like they refused to be denied, which was awesome, man, especially as the underdog.
I think the worst thing that happened to Stanford was there was a call that wasn't made, and I don't know if Suarez dove. I couldn't tell if she got tripped or not. But after that, Dudley came and just knocked the girl over to get a yellow card just to argue with the ref. And it was like the next 3 minutes is when they scored that goal, and they completely rattled Stanford. Like the crowd, the Florida State crowd, shout out to Spencer, who flew all the way out there to Kansas City to watch that thing. God bless him. In 35-degree weather. Jet, well, y'all both know Spencer. But I just thought Stanford got rattled by the physicality and the aggression, and then it paid off in a really cool goal, man. Like, I don't know that the ball touched the ground from, like, midfield to the final pass that Hudson hit. That was a really cool build-up and goal, and I know this isn't a soccer podcast, but we appreciate dominance, and we appreciate what you'd have to call a dynasty.
FSU fans have been living what they've been living. They're fine talking about some soccer for a minute, winning a national championship.
I was about to say, we tend to mention when the university wins national championships. It's kind of a big deal, let alone your fifth.
No, I just don't want people rolling their eyes with me talking about a build-up. Like I know anything of what I'm talking about. Like I just learned build-up a couple days ago.
No, you know enough.
I know.
You know enough to have that conversation. And, again, I think some kudos, obviously, to every member of that team, but also Coach Pinsky, because I think what's crazy is we all saw what kind of dominant program that he took over. But I think it's a harder task to do what he's done than people realize. Like to manage that, what Krikorian had built. And the way he was beloved, there is a soccer community here. There is a group of people, a decent-sized group of people that are educated on Florida State soccer and do care about that sport greatly. That's what they've been able to build. And so when Krikorian left under, pretty ugly circumstances, is what I'll describe them as, you wondered, could they sustain it? I mean, it's very difficult to do, and he's more than done that.
And what's really impressive about it is he didn't just try to maintain what they've already been doing. It's not like he's just followed the same blueprint.
Right. I
mean, they play a different way. And like Corey, I'm not an expert on strategies in soccer, but they clearly play a different approach. Mark Krikorian was much more defensive oriented and then would attack when the moments were right. Whereas Penske's teams are kind of attacking. And man, it's really remarkable. And he's recruited a different way as well. I mean, they still do a lot of international, but
you have to in
much
soccer.
Harder in American. And yeah, man, it's cool. They're having a couple of celebrations today. If you're in Tallahassee, they're actually landing at the airport, I think around 1:30 to 2 at the private airport, Millionaire, whatever that area. And then they're going to do a ceremony. They're going to do a torch lighting on campus at the Unconquered statue at 5:00. And then at 5:30, they're doing something inside the Champions Club. Not sure if you have to kind of get approval or ticketing to go into the Champions Club, but the torch lighting, which is outside the Unconquered statue, 5:00 is going to obviously open to anybody, and cool to celebrate a national championship.
Corey, I think you would echo this sentiment. I don't know if you're allowed to just walk into the Champions Club, but we would encourage all of you to do so.
Please.
I think you should just walk in.
Show up.
Just show up, be there, walk right in.
Make them tell you no.
wear Florida State gear so they know you're there for the celebration, or at least pretend to be there for the celebration and then do whatever you want once you're up there. But, yeah, just walk in and see what happens.
It's like you give away the free food all those years ago at Horizons or the free beer out at Tavello. You know, you're often just offering up whatever the business
kind of his
offers
thing.
up. I'm telling you today that Florida State won't mind if you roll into the Champions Club as a fan of the soccer program. That's all I'm saying.
Amen. Also,
Let's
how
go
about Hudson?
celebrate.
Hudson scored 2 game-winning goals. She had a last-second goal earlier this year. I think she scored the game winner last year in the ACC championship game, and she's only a sophomore. That's the scary thing. I don't know if Dudley goes pro. I don't know how that works in college soccer. She's just a junior. Suarez is just a sophomore. Like, the goalkeeper's obviously just a freshman. Like, they are all coming back. But what's crazy about it, I think, is I remember having this conversation with Penske after their last title. This isn't North Carolina in the 90s when they had no competition.
Mia Hamm out there just dominating.
But they were great teams. They had Hall of Famers on those teams, but there was no competition. The parity in this sport has never been like this. They're in the toughest conference in the world, and they've won 5 national championships in 11 years and came within an eyelash of 6. This is, other than I would say Oklahoma softball, it's probably the most dominant team program in the country. I don't count like Stanford fencing and Harvard rowing. Like, I'm talking about real sports. It's the most dominant. It's got to be the most dominant team program in the country, besides probably Oklahoma softball.
I don't know why you hate fencers.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Just throwing strays out at people who fence. Elite fencers.
How many fencing national championships would Florida State have to win before we started talking about fencing on the or how bad would the football have to be?
Well, another year.
Another year of this.
One more year of this, and I'm into fencing.
Please.
One more year of this, and I'm into beach volleyball.
Lacrosse is getting started.
Anything that we can do, one more year of this, and
maybe that's one of Norvell's hidden talents is coaching fencing. We just don't know it yet. But hey, pay him to do that next year.
Earn that salary.
Hey, did Notre Dame have a press conference today about their whining? Do you know what they said at it, or what came?
Yeah, Tom was tweeting about it. He said,
Tom was live tweeting it.
Yeah, he said it was the most. It's unfair considering Notre Dame went on one of the most dominant 10-game runs in college football history, is what their athletic director said. I would love for Jeff to read if he could. Remember, we're talking about one of the most dominant 10-game runs in college football history. If he could read the teams that Notre Dame beat, because 4 of them are in the bottom 100.
I can do that, and I knew off the top of my head that is correct, Corey. Not that it was one of the most dominant runs in college football history, but rather the amount of schools that they beat that aren't any good. But I can do that. You just got to give me half a second here to list the Notre Dame
the murderer's road they went through.
the sheer dominance. By the way, I think Notre Dame is a good football team.
No, they've clearly
a really good football team. But
they're probably one of the best 12 teams in the country.
They are, yeah. But this is a flawed system and always has been. Here you go. That 10 straight victory run that you're alluding to, Corey, looks like this.
Historic run.
56-30 over Purdue, 56-13 over Arkansas, 28-7 over Boise, 36-7 over NC State. Good win here, 34-24 over Southern Cal. Boston College 25-10, Navy 49-10, Pitt 37-15, beat Syracuse 70-7. Tough day for Fran and the boys. At Stanford 49-20.
I mean, really, that is going to go down in the annals.
Stanford, Cuse, Pitt, Navy, BC, NC State, Purdue, all in that mix.
Not ranked, right? No, I think USC was ranked, and that's the only one.
Southern Cal was definitely ranked, and actually Southern Cal was a good team this year. I've watched them play plenty of games. They're a good football team. But
think about the audacity of somebody at Notre Dame with their tradition, historic. A lot of it's like past history, but with their tradition to talk about that slate as being historic. I mean, what do we?
Yeah, don't insult all of the great Notre Dame teams that came before that. Yeah, here's the thing, and I hate to be in this position, and I said this yesterday. When they declined to go to the Pop-Tart Bowl to play BYU, I completely understood and agreed with that because I wouldn't feed ESPN programming. I wouldn't lend you my brand after you just effed me because ESPN owns all these bowls, and that's their programming. The Capital One Bowl Week, it's all the money that they make off these bowls. So I can understand that. It's the follow-up attempt at the interview circuit by the AD that embarrassed himself in Notre Dame. You can't possibly expect the ACC not to vouch for, the football member of the ACC to get in who beats you head to head. Why would they carry water for Notre Dame, who's not a member in football, the ACC? Especially after you used and abused the ACC and, Jim gave them all the opportunities to play for the ACC and the whole deal. And they didn't repay it by joining the conference, which was what his hope was, that it would influence them to join the conference at a time that the ACC was being greatly diminished and the rising superpower that became the Big Ten and the SEC. They needed a brand, a real name to join the FSU, Clemsons, and Miamis of the world. And Notre Dame was never going to do that. They were always going to use the ACC and remain independent. So now it comes time for you to argue on behalf of either Miami, a member of the ACC who's 10-2 and ranked, and beat you at Notre Dame earlier in the year, or Notre Dame. Yeah, I think he's going to vouch for Miami, the conference that he's the commissioner for. Don't go on 5 radio shows and bitch about the ACC siding with Miami. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. What he said on Sunday was there had been permanent damage between the Notre Dame and the ACC.
To what?
Today, he changed his tune a little and said, all things can be healed. I'm not going to be overly dramatic here, but it strained the relationship. So
it's not permanent damage anymore.
Yeah, and Pete Bavacqua, if one thing is not overly dramatic, we've realized that the last few days. It's all. What was funny, I thought, and it was a little bit of trolling, was the ACC network playing the Miami Notre Dame game for like 48 hours straight leading up to. I did too. That
was the greatest thing the ACC's ever done.
Probably, and it's like I think a lot of Florida State fans could have been like, where was that energy a couple years ago, man?
Sure.
Where was that energy a couple years ago? Because nobody was mad at the ACC social media team 2 years ago for pushing too hard for Florida State because they didn't, and the commissioner said nothing.
Well, 2 things. One is I think a lot of people learned, if you go back in time, nobody thought that they would really leave Florida State out. I mean, I remember standing on the field
That's right.
after they beat Louisville and talking to all the top people at FSU, the highest administrators, and I asked them all, are you sure you're in? And they were like, they cannot leave us out. We're a Power 5, undefeated conference champion. We can't be left out. It's never happened before. So they went to bed confident it was going to happen. And I think that's the reason if you're going to give a 1% slight sliver of grace to Jim Phillips, I don't think they thought there was a chance it was going to happen. So they didn't lobby, and that's what happened. Well, the other thing that so clearly everybody's learned from that experience that they're going to do whatever the hell they want. The other thing that people have learned from what happened to Florida State is Notre Dame backing out of the bowl. Because they knew the exact same thing likely would happen to them because they would have a decimated
Real
team.
Quick, let me inject this.
They would get embarrassed.
You're right because of 2 things. They would have played BYU, who would have cared to be there. BYU 100%. Always plays hard in bowl games. It's part of who they are. They would have gone full balls to the wall. Notre Dame would have had opt-outs everywhere. They would have
BYU wouldn't call it balls to the wall.
They would not. They would not. Nor would they have had a cup of coffee when they considered the bowl invite. But what I would say is that you're right. You would have had a team that was bitterly disappointed, not in the right mindset, that wouldn't have practiced hard to play BYU in the Pop-Tart Bowl. You had opt-outs galore, and they would have gotten beat and been made to look bad the way that Florida State certainly was made to look bad when they got humiliated by Georgia. And I remember us all first guessing that, hey, man, I actually think not playing in that Orange Bowl is a legit option. Now, the difference between Florida State and Notre Dame is, of course, Florida State is in a conference, and they would have been fined millions of dollars or $500,000.
$5 million as well.
Yeah, $5 million. Whereas Notre Dame's not in a conference, and there's another benefit of that.
Do you guys, in hindsight, think that the ACC would have really had the audacity after their team got heartbroken and snubbed in a way that's never been snubbed before to fine them for saying we don't want to play anymore this year?
No, I don't think it was necessarily just them. It's the Orange Bowl. There's an agreement. So you have to send your best team to the Orange Bowl. It's a contractual thing. It wasn't like just the ACC is going to fine them. Like they would have lost out on that money. It would have been that's my understanding of it.
But somebody else, whoever, Louisville would have taken their place. I mean, somebody would have played in the Orange Bowl.
Damage, but they're contractually obligated to get the conference champion in the Orange Bowl if they're not in the playoff. So that's what I'm saying. And so they would be backing out on their contract. You're hurting the Orange Bowl, their ticket sales, their television ratings. So they would want it. So it's not just a penalty. It's like there's repercussions. For
Well,
it.
I think we are now entering into a new era. I can tell you that. I mean, we're going to
Yeah.
see more and more teams. The Bulls are in trouble. I mean, let's just put it that way. The Bulls are in real trouble.
Yeah.
And remember the conversation was, I can't believe Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey are opting out of playing in a bowl game. We've gone from that to entire teams will be like, no, we're good. We don't want to play. These games are meaningless. We always had that argument, right, that they're glorified exhibition games if you're not in the playoff. Now everybody kind of gets it.
Yeah, but and especially what's happening with the calendar, with the portal opening January 2nd. I mean, the whole thing, I was sad that Notre Dame did it. So they opted out. And so I know you guys both thought it was the right thing to do. Corey thought it was the right thing to do for Florida State at the time. I can't remember if you were advocating for it, but it still makes me sad because it does mean that the bowl system is it's over.
Two different discussions, but 100 agree with both takes. I, as a college football fan, and Corey, I know you're a huge college football fan as well, and we've all had the big picture conversation about college football and the bastardization of it. Yeah. The loss of rivalries, the loss of traditions, the loss of, just
natural conference alignment.
Yeah, natural conference alignment. Also, bowl tie-ins. Look, this has never been a perfect system by which to decide a champion in the sport. It can't be. It's not the NFL. There are hundreds of teams playing disparate schedules. You're never really going to come to a full agreement about this team and that team if they play similar schedules that deserve to get in or don't. It's very difficult. Right. But we loved a lot of the other aspects of college football that have since been loved.
Absolutely loved.
That have since been blown to smithereens with the changes. Now, we may hold our breath and come out the other side at some point with some things that we really like about the changes of college football. One of them is already happening right in our midst, and that is that a team like Indiana, that has never mattered in the history of the sport, is the number one ranked team in the country and just won the Big Ten. And that would have never been possible without the changes to the sport that we've seen the last 5 years. So there are some good things. But, man, when you're talking about teams opting out of bowls and not playing in big games and not being part of a postseason, you're absolutely right. As a fan of the sport, I hate what's happening.
Kenny Dillingham had a good rant yesterday. Not a rant, but it was just something people excerpted from his press conference yesterday. Former FSU offensive coordinator, Arizona State head coach. He said it wasn't really a rant. He was lamenting about how he's like, look, man, this sport is broken. We've broken everything about this sport. The only thing that's not broken is that the money's still coming in and the ratings are still high. And so because of that, like, what's the impetus to fix what's broken? But don't kid yourself. Just because the money's coming in, everything we've done to the sport has broken the sport. And I 100% agree with what he was saying.
I think you guys are crazy. I think it's never been in a better place. It's a lot of fun to watch. You get to know these kids for 6 to 8 months before they bounce to another team. It's great. It's wonderful. Coaches have $58 million buyouts and can't leave when they're horrible. It all works for everyone. Everybody's winning right now. By the way, real quick before we go to break, is Cignetti legitimately maybe the best coach who's ever lived?
So we have to address that clip.
I don't understand what's going on.
You guys probably don't check your Twitter mentions.
No,
but somebody pulled up the initial Cignetti introductory press conference on Coach from
a couple of years ago.
Yes,
that was an awesome one that we did.
Except
that's fun.
We don't look awful we don't look great in hindsight.
Because, it's cherry pick, sure.
Well, but the point is the way it's presented is we're saying it was a bad hire.
Of course.
You mean it's chopped up and not presented in context?
No, he looked like a lunatic. He looked like a lunatic.
He sounded and looked like a lunatic.
That's the point. The press conference was crazy.
And that's what we were
talking about. But if you just see us saying, because in the clip you're saying
it's the worst hire ever is what I think. Yeah, because of the press conference.
But people, if you just see that, if you think we're talking about the resume.
Context and post a clip, imagine.
But
I'm glad I didn't see it.
It is funny. It's unbelievable, but none of us would have ever imagined this. I mean,
nobody,
it's unbelievable.
Not the people who tweeted that.
So somebody on the FSU football staff, not one of the coaches, but somebody on the staff texted me this morning, and he's like, now I see why you guys aren't always right about stuff. Like that clip, which he was just being funny. And I said, listen, man, we were talking about the press conference and how insane that press conference was. I said, the guy, he was so incredibly arrogant and
it was awesome. We loved it, though.
This person responded, he goes, I'm starting to think his arrogance is his superpower. I'm like, you know what? It might be.
Well,
because it's unbelievable the way he talked in that press conference. I'll stand by that forever.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And nobody, it made national news. It was a story in the sport. Every talking head in America that covers the sport were like,
who is this guy?
What the hell is this guy talking about? I mean, those shirts were made instantly because of the absurdity. The Google Me shirts that are now out there that have been out there for 2 years, it was such an absurd thing to say, and we all cracked up.
I had forgotten about in the he went to the basketball game afterwards and like said, by the way, Purdue sucks, and Ohio State and Michigan too. And it's like, dude, who are you?
That's great. We
And
love
He's
it.
the best coach who's ever lived.
Apparently.
He's the best coach who has ever lived. It is unbelievable what that team is.
Hey, listen, that's good for coach speak. We need more people to take things,
excerpts
out of
there you go.
shows and
Yeah.
just place them the way they want for the purposes that they want. That's a fantastic.
Plenty of a random material out there.
Yes, it's great. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Picture this. It's midnight and you're lying in bed, scrolling through this new website you found, hitting the add to cart button on that item you've been looking for. After 15 minutes, you decide you've done enough damage to your wallet and decide to check out. But you remember that your wallet or credit card is in the living room and you don't want to get out of bed to go get it. Just as you're getting ready to abandon your cart, that's when you see it. That purple shop button. That shop button that has all of your payment and shipping information saved, saving you time while you stay warm in your bed. That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes everything easier, from checkout to creating your own storefront. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel and Seminole Headlines to brands just getting started. Shopify gives you that leg up from day one with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand style and forget about all the code. Tackle all those important tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. Spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools to find and keep new customers. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Your customers already love it. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/warchant. Go to shopify.com/warchant. Shopify.com/warchant.
From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, and today I want to talk straight with you about debt, especially high interest rate credit cards, and why you shouldn't just sit there and hope the situation will fix itself. Nationwide, the average credit card interest rate is hovering around 21% or higher. The total revolving credit card debt in the U.S. is over $1 trillion and rising. If you're carrying a credit card balance, you're likely paying hundreds of dollars each month just in interest, without even touching your principal. But here's the good news. You can act. What I help folks do is refinance their home or use a home loan strategy to consolidate high interest debt into something with a much lower interest rate and one payment. It puts you in control. So if you own a home or you're buying one, let's talk about turning your house into a tool so you can stop the credit card interest trap and you can stop feeling like you're paying lots without making progress. Go to loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com. And let's get you on a smarter financial path and get out of the high interest grind.
Big news! Café de Martín has been named one of America's best restaurants, and we want to celebrate with you. On December 10th from 1 to 4 p.m., a national film crew will be in the restaurant capturing the magic of our food, our people, and our community. Come dine with us, enjoy your favorites, and you just might be featured on camera. Join the celebration at Café de Martín, December 10th, 1 to 4 p.m. Café de Martín, where every plate tells a story.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Welcome back, Seminole Headlines. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're well. Appreciate you. We were just talking, Ira and I were, Corey, during the break. And I want to kind of bring it back home here for a second. Obviously, we're going to be covering, watching, monitoring. Everybody that's watching this, what Florida State does with the coaches that come and go and the hirings and the process in the front office and all of that. But we were just talking about Cignetti. And I said that, it's interesting. Sometimes it's the little things. It's the small decisions that you make. Bringing your DC, Bryant Haynes, I think his name is, bringing him over from James Madison with him. If you watch Indiana's defense, man, he's got a hell of a handle on that personnel and put them in the proper positions to succeed. But Corey, I bet you've looked this up too. Indiana did not go out and bring in a slew of five-star kids to come in there the way that Texas Tech did. Texas Tech went out and bought like 5 or 6 big-time studs to build around. Smart move. If you can do it, do it. But that's a different build than what Indiana's done. He took very familiar personnel, brought it with him from James Madison, supplemented it with some pieces here and there like Mendoza, obviously a quarterback. But you look at that DC, those guys are in a position to make plays, and they play aggressive, downhill. They get after the quarterback at the right time. That defense is what I'm most impressed with, and they are consistently good across these last 2 years. Their offense up and down, depending on the competition. They blow out people they're supposed to blow out. They get a credit for that for sure. But their defense always shows up, and that's, man, it's the modern age of college football. We're trying to figure out what to do with this, with the whole building of a roster and your coaches and figuring out how you improve Florida State. Evaluation is the biggest part of all of this, and Florida State has got to figure out a way to evaluate better.
Yeah, and that's why I think on the defensive side of the ball, like we know what Malzahn is, right? We've seen him for 20 years. If he comes back, the offense will have some incredible games and some games where you just throw your hands up. And you'll probably have a quarterback that can't throw it all that well, because why would a good quarterback come play for Gus? But Tony White is what I want to see the progression and the improvement in, because there were times this year where I was really impressed with what he did, because I don't crazily – maybe it's not crazy anymore. Florida State doesn't have – it wouldn't appear – has even the defensive talent of Indiana. But I thought he did pretty well with what he did have at times. And they didn't give up a ton of huge plays. They did typically compete. They played hard, whether their offense was doing anything or not. But when you look at Indiana, that's what's so confusing. Like, we know why Texas Tech is good. They got awesome players. I don't know. Does Indiana have a bunch of NFL draft picks on that defense? Or are they just
the quarterback? Yeah.
No, I'm talking about defense. Like, that defense is unbelievable. And I remember watching the Penn State game. I think it was the Penn State game. And the Penn State quarterback threw a toss sweep to the running back. And some defensive tackle almost intercepted it from Indiana. He was that quick and that powerful. And I'm like, well, where did that monster come from? Oh, he's a transfer from Kent State. I mean, what? How do they do it? It really, what Indiana implies belief.
No, it does. But that's, and again, I went back and watched that whole thing from Coach Speak. But one of the things that we deserve criticism, I certainly do, is we laughed at him because he said in his press conference, he talked about recruiting and the fact that, because one of the questions he got in that press conference was, how are you going to compete with Michigan and Ohio State's 4 and 5 stars? Indiana's never gotten those types of players. Right. How are you going to get them, or how are you going to compete? And he basically said, I don't care about recruiting rankings, which every coach says, which is why we kind of made fun of him for that. But then he said, listen, all we're going to do is, we have coaches that I believe in. We're going to evaluate tape. We're going to sign guys I believe in. And that it's mockable because every coach kind of says that, but then they kind of go back to doing what everybody else does, which is recruit off the big names, the guys that go to the camps, that get attention, and then they focus on those guys that other schools are recruiting. They'll hear one of the things that happens a lot in college football is a kid gets an offer from one school, and then other schools realize, oh, wait, that kid must be pretty good. And then they go watch him and they say, yeah, he's pretty good. Let's go recruit him as well. There are players out there that are not being evaluated, that are not being seen, that are not going to the camps, that are flying under the radar. And then that's why some of the best players in college football now are ones that are being rated from the FCS and low mid-major FBS level, the Braden Fisks of the world. And so that's where Florida State, and again, they're on this path right now to redo their front office, and man, figure it out. overhaul it all. Bring in whoever you got to bring in, because that's where it starts, man. They have to get better players. To Corey's point, you have to get better players, but it doesn't always mean having to outbid Ole Miss or Texas Tech or anybody else. There are freaking players out there. Go find the right ones.
Yeah, and if you recruit the high school level better and work with better clay, they develop, if you develop them into better players over time, and then you supplement it with some players that you're right, that you do a better job of evaluating. I went and looked at this amalgamation that I check all the time of like 6 different sites that look at the upcoming draft. And to answer your question, Corey, I wanted to see, yes, there are a lot of draft-eligible players here. There's some with higher ratings than others, obviously, but the ones with elite ratings, I'll just let you know right now, for NFL draft prospects, Mendoza, obviously, quarterback. The Surratt kid, the wide receiver, he's definitely a stud. He's rated highly. Another wide receiver is the Cooper kid who made the catch in the back of the end zone, one of the greatest catches I've ever seen.
And he came out and he was a 3-star that nobody really wanted. I don't think anybody really wanted.
So he is I guess one side had him as a 4, other had him a 3. So it wasn't a 5-star. But then from there, they've got the corner. The Pons kid is considered an elite corner. The defensive end, Kamara, that somebody said in the chat, he's absolutely right. He's considered an upper crust defensive end. He's an edge setter at 265 pounds. He's really smart and he's really strong. And he's not all that long, so he gets knocked for that. But then from there, it's there are guys that they like
and that fit their system and play hard and get their confidence. And somebody in the chat also said, I can't remember who it was, but they said the thing about Cignetti is he's given those guys that same arrogance and that same confidence, and they believe, man. And starting with the quarterback, and that dude, I don't know what they've done with him in terms of playing development, but he's not the same guy that we saw in Doak Campbell Stadium a year ago.
When he came here,
no, he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad at all.
But he wasn't that.
Well, and it probably didn't help that wasn't a good team.
No, for sure.
But
I think you could tell. I think you would be able to tell. And it's just a perfect mix, man. I don't know that they can sustain it. I'll still kind of chuckle at the deal they gave Cignetti because I don't know if this is something you can sustain. I think his magic may wear off, but man, it's incredible.
It's magic right now. I mean, it is. We live in a world where Indiana is legitimately the best team in the country. I can't fathom this. This is where we're leaving. And the quarterback from Vanderbilt might win the Heisman. Everything's upside down right now. But getting it back home, obviously Norvell's here for at least another year. He clearly got rid of the problem with Surtain. We've been saying that for 3 months, that Patrick Surtain was the reason that this team was struggling. But what do you think? That was a joke, everyone. What do you think has to be done? Is it GM? Is it the evaluation of the portal right now? That's got to be key. Whoever's doing it, the evaluation of the portal in the next 3 weeks.
Nobody's doing it new. That's new. They haven't hired all those people in the front office yet, so there's no guy that's whisked in as
when
GM.
That happens, though. But even if it doesn't happen, that's the key to everything is these next 3 weeks in the evaluations they make.
Well, two things I would say is it's part of it's the front office side and whoever they hire from the GM standpoint and any other changes they make in that department, which I do think is vital. But then the other part of it is coaches' evaluations, because that's the reason I push back on all the people that ripped Derek Ray is the GM of personnel and blamed everything on him. It's like, listen, man, coaches. So to me, this Nick Williams hire, who's going to be the defensive ends coach, I like the idea that maybe that any changes they're going to make on the staff are also focused with more of a personnel scouting, recruiting, because Nick Williams is seen as a very good recruiter. Everywhere he went to Georgia, Texas A&M, and Syracuse, all 3 of those schools, the reason they brought him in was because he's seen as a really good recruiter.
And the 1 year he was at Colorado, they actually had a top 30 class.
Exactly. Yeah. So Florida State is trying. So that makes me wonder if it's not just the front office side, but also any changes they make on the coaching side. That part of it may be a big part of it as well. How good of recruiters are they and how good of evaluators are they? Because listen, man, and David Johnson's leaving, the running backs coach, is going to Arkansas. He was the recruiting coordinator, quote unquote, for Florida State. And I thought early on, I liked some of the things he did, but man, they have not evaluated well, and you're the recruiting coordinator. So maybe the next person who's replacing him also will be a better recruiter and evaluator. I mean, I hope that it's not just on the front office side, it's on the coaching side, because they ultimately get final decisions, and also who plays.
Yeah, I want it to be at least for the immediate, it has to be on the coaching side. To me, I mean, the long-term fix that you're talking about is the front office thing. I think that's going to take 2 or 3 cycles for it to have a huge impact on Florida State.
I mean, it can have an impact on the portal.
It could. I have a hard time believing it'll happen this cycle in the portal. Maybe next year's cycle in the portal.
We can agree to disagree. The portal opens in like over 3 weeks.
January 2nd. That is correct. Those agents, which I know you know.
The process started, but it's not
over. Started a while ago with those agents figuring out where they're sending their clients.
Sure.
Is my point. And you have really nobody on Florida State's behalf forging and first of all, if you're an agent for one of those players, you look at the situation currently, we'll see, it can change, obviously, as a bit of a mess. So I think they're going to be up against it for this one. We can agree to disagree on that. But it can help them next year and the year after and all that. And we know long-term a lot has to be fixed. But to your point about the coaching staff, man, it's almost like they have to make it Mike-proof. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean.
Well,
look,
you just need better people.
But Mike is the one who's hired those coaches in the past and did not insist on them being better recruiters, or else it would have happened. It all comes back to Mike. Mike has failed repeatedly, and he's going to be here, and that's why people push back on all of this. They're going, well, but that guy's still here. It doesn't mean I don't agree with you about those new coaches coming in needing to be worlds better in evaluation and recruiting than the previous ones. We completely agree. I just think that you're a little hamstrung as long as Mike's still here.
Yeah,
Corey,
or you, like you said, I don't know if I'd term it Mike-proof, but you can set it up to where maybe he can't fail. You get so many good players in here. But when it comes to the agents, I think number one, I think agents want to go where the money goes. They're not going to say don't go to Florida State, even though they're offering you more money. The agents want money. But I would push back on that a little bit. But I think, moreover, to Ira's point, you don't have to get in a bidding war with, no offense, an Elijah Herring type linebacker. Go find a badass that's a little bit under the radar if you need to. That's what really good evaluators do. The GM at Indiana and the defensive coordinator must be awesome at their jobs. Go get people like that. I like Tony White as a DC, and I do think Tony White identified some talent on this roster that the former DC didn't even know was here. So I'm not giving up on his talent evaluation yet. But there are more ways than just go bid on everyone. You've got to go get some high-profile, big-name, high-priced talent. But you can fill in some holes with some really good evaluation. It happens at every school in the country, apparently, besides Florida State.
Yeah, again, this is going to be a circular argument because I think the guy that's doing – Corey's right about the Derek Ray thing. He doesn't get to say who's coming in. Mike does.
Right.
Yeah.
So
but maybe that's changing.
I mean, listen, man. Mike Norvell, and it's one of the comments that I know Corey's made a couple times. You may have made it also. That it was probably good for Mike Norvell to hear that they were looking at Lane Kiffin, whether or not they had a chance to get him. Just the fact that they'll let him know that that's where he stands. And I was like, man, Mike Norvell clearly understands where he was. I think the Mike Norvell we saw from Stanford until the post game at Florida, he knew he was on the possibility of cusp of getting fired. So I also think you'd like to think, man, I don't know if he hasn't at this point, it's never going to happen and he's going to get fired. It's just a matter of when. But you'd like to think after these last 2 seasons, as a man with functioning intelligence, that he realizes that maybe the way he's done things isn't the answer and he needs to figure out he needs help.
I agree.
If he hasn't figured that out now, I mean, how did he get to this point?
I'd like to think so as well. And so we're
it's like the three of us. It's like the three of us trying to build a house. At some point, we'd be like, you know what? We need to get a contractor because that piece of wood won't stay upright.
And it's crooked. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
Over 40 grams of meth was seized at a Tallahassee home on Ross Road, leading to the arrest of 2 men. During a search of the home on 100 Ross Road, deputies found about 47.5 grams of crystal meth, a loaded handgun, and $1,039 in cash. William McKenzie was charged with possession of a controlled substance, and Jeremy Green was also arrested and charged with trafficking of methamphetamine and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. LCSO stated they searched the home as part of an investigation that identified illegal narcotics activity at the home. 2 people are behind bars in connection to a string of mail thefts over the last few months in Tallahassee. Kim Benson and Christy Holgate were arrested Friday. Their arrests come after police responded to a scene early Friday morning in the Falls Chase neighborhood. Officers responded to the scene after neighbors said they saw Benson and Holgate trying to break into locked mailboxes. This is Rachel Ane with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 56 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows dip down to about 34. Daytime highs approaching 66 tomorrow. Sunny skies. Ample sunshine expected Thursday with highs around 62. 67 Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 53 degrees.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofingsales.net.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
As we roll on, want to get real quick to a contribution in the chat. Appreciate you, Noel Kev, as always. He said earlier in the program, let's make it simple, folks. FSU football makes you sad. Register Sausage will make you happy.
That says it all right there.
Good job, Noel Kev.
Thanks,
Unless
Kev.
they don't have it. Damn it, Publix, let's get it together. And you know I love you. Not calling out any specific meat manager, but the collective of meat managers have got to figure this out.
So did you guys, I tweeted an article from ESPN today that I don't often do. I don't know the last time I've tweeted
I was about to say,
an
what are
ESPN
you out here doing?
college football article, but it was pretty good, man. It talked about how a lot of college ADs, and it really relates to Florida State, a lot of college ADs now are opening their mind to the idea that they may not ever get help from Congress.
Oh, imagine that.
And so they may have to look at really doing collective bargaining with employees, making the athletes employees and going through collective bargaining, which is not going to be easy, man. There's going to be a lot of hurdles with that. It's going to be much more expensive. But to the point you've been making, Jeff, you've been ringing the alarms for at least a month about how the concerns of Florida State, that if Michael Alford, the AD, isn't going to go along with the idea that NIL is for real and that these schools are not going to abide by the salary cap with the House settlement, then Florida State's going to get screwed. The reason I haven't kind of jumped on board with that is because, first of all, like same thing we were saying about Derek Ray, Michael Alford doesn't unilaterally decide what FSU is going to do. Like if Michael Alford wanted to fire Mike Norvell, he couldn't have done that without support from the administration. If he wants to hire the next coach, he won't be able to do that. So his edict about trying to make the salary cap work only goes as far as his bosses let him do that. Like I believe at some point when they see the writing on the wall. And that was why the article, I think, is important, because basically when Michael Alford and a lot of these ADs and presidents were hoping that schools would abide by the salary cap and go along with the House settlement and lock in on that. But then when those schools last week said, no, we're not signing your letter, we're not agreeing to that, and then the Congress said, no, we're not going to pass an antitrust exemption that's going to back you up to lawsuits, now they're realizing that that's not going to work. So
That's correct.
I believe, and I don't know this for a fact, whatever Michael Alford thinks, his bosses are going to say, listen, man, we are not going to just not compete because you're hoping that thing passes. So at some point, his bosses are going to say no. So, that's what I expect to happen. We'll see. In the end result, at some point, it looks like they're going to push towards collective bargaining with athletes as employees. We'll see when that happens, but that's clearly not going to happen in this cycle.
No.
So they're going to have to get on board and compete,
Yeah.
or they're not going to be able to compete, which is what you've been
Yeah, I've been bitching about that because the House settlement doesn't provide the stability for college athletics that certain ADs and presidents thought that it would. And now we know that it won't. And it's the reason for people out there who are wondering about why that is that any of those rules now violate antitrust laws. So they're just going to get sued.
Right.
And the schools that wouldn't abide by it were leaning that way. They were saying, no, Congress isn't coming to save you. This is what's going to happen. And so screw that stupid thing. We're going to collect a lot of good players and pay for them and be out in the open about it because there are no repercussions. That was their belief. Michael Alford, who I was critical of, was like, well, people are going to retroactively be in trouble for these maneuvers. I'm like, no, they're not, Michael. You're living in fantasy land is what I called it. So,
well, in his defense, real quick, in a lot of those guys, a lot of those ADs, they've been working with these congressmen for a couple of years now. I mean,
it was embarrassing when it got thrown out, basically, yeah.
Like Alford's been meeting with Byron Donalds and all these different politicians in the state of Florida and going up to D.C. He's gone up to D.C. to meet with all these, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of ADs and presidents have been working on this because it would have worked a lot better for them if they could do this and have an antitrust exemption.
It's preferable for Florida State.
That's what they would love to have happen.
Yeah.
The point is now the writing's on the wall. That's not going to happen.
No.
So you got to figure out a new plan. And in the meantime, you got to get to competing with everybody else.
And I just find it hard to believe that Michael Alford, look, I met the guy. He's very nice to me. He's not a knoll, man. He's an interloper. Like he's an outsider, and it's his job. And I'm sure, and he cares about Florida State, I'm sure, until he gets another job. This is what these are what these positions are. I can't imagine he's going to control the purse strings enough to hamstring Florida State football, which a lot more people that have a lot more money than him care a lot more about. He doesn't get to just say, no, I get to call the shots, as Ira's saying. The people above him will be, okay, well, then you're not in that position anymore, Michael, because we want to win football games. So you either get to how you start doing what you have to do or make the concessions you have to make for us to win football games, or we will find somebody who will. Like Michael Alford is expendable. We're all expendable. But Florida State football is so much more important than everything else, and that has to be fixed. And it has to be fixed. He already hamstrung him with this crazy I know hindsight, all that. It is a crazy contract buyout that they're in. And it was on his watch. He can't then say, no, we're not going to spend any money on an actual good football team. That would be asinine.
There was a time 25 years ago and beyond when athletic directors did run athletic departments unilaterally. That is not long on. There's too much money involved now. So presidents are involved in everything.
To this point, because we were here and I watched it happen. We all did. The moment that it happened, Dave Hart usurped, if you recall, TK, and then that was the changing of all of it. I'm not picking sides. That's when you realized this is all changed.
Yeah. So TK then fires Dave Hart.
Yep.
Comes up with a committee to basically trump up charges against him, kind of like what he was doing wrong. Then ends up forcing him out. Then
hires a series of puppets.
Randy Spettman is the AD.
I like Randy personally.
I like him personally too, but over the Martin Mayhews and they the former president of the Marlins.
Yes.
Like they had real candidates that applied for that job. And he goes and hires the guy from the Air Force Academy because he's a military guy that he
could control.
Knew he was going to be able to control. And so that's like that's what was happening here. But because of the money, it's been happening everywhere to where now some schools have strong ADs and Michael Alford's a stronger AD than Randy Spettman was. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be mad at Michael Alford if FSU's not competitive from an NIL standpoint. I'm going to be mad at his bosses for letting him do it. I'm mad
at the whole bunch. I've obviously had my righteous indignation moment where
I understood why they went for it, and I understand why they fought for it up until like last week when they did. The Congress, they thought there was a chance.
Told to have a good day,
but when Congress said we're not doing anything, well, now it's up. You're done. You have to go a different route, and so you got to compete.
And we got to go to break. Headliner questions forthcoming. Hang in. Seminole Headlines, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
No matter what printing you need to keep your business running, we can help. Hi, Jason Butera here for The Printery. Reduce your stress and give us a call. From new product brochures or posters to yard signs, postcards, even letterhead and envelopes, The Printery sets the standard in personalized service with outstanding results. We offer full-service graphic design and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies. If it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us today, 877-6418. 877-6418.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the New York Jets at Everbank Stadium Sunday as 12.5-point favorites, 41.5 the total. Jacksonville minus 165 to win the AFC South crown. Houston is plus 150. The Texans hosting the Cardinals as 9.5-point favorites on Sunday. And the Indianapolis Colts are 22-1. They have lost Daniel Jones for the season with a torn Achilles tendon. And they're 10.5-point dogs this week at Seattle. College basketball today, Florida Gators a 4.5-point underdog against UConn at Madison Square Garden, 145.5 the total. Score $500 in rewards with the GBank First Bet VSiN Trifecta. Details at vsin.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from card holder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at bfa.com/cardfwc26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable. Here's what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, headliner questions coming your way in just a moment. But as we're wont to do, we always begin the hour with thanking our sponsor and supporter, at Birch Orthodontics. Dr. Birch and her staff, the very best in the business. And we thank her and her crew for all of their help over the years sponsoring Seminole Headlines. And we get the message out to all of you about their greatness because, hey, that could be a stressful process, Ira.
And I can't wait until my kids come back home. They were home for Thanksgiving, but they'll be back for Christmas. So I get a chance to see all their smiles. We know where that money went to. It's like you and I were talking at the break about getting a screened-in patio, something I have, and you're looking to do as well.
Yeah.
And every time I'm out there, I'm like, man, this was a good investment. Every time I see my kids' smiles, I know it was a good investment. And I also want to get over there just to visit. Dr. Birch invited me to come over, check out the office. They redid their office, added coffee to the amenities.
Well, it's about time.
And I think, listen, Corey, next time you're in Tallahassee, we need to stop by. You need to meet Dr. Birch.
So they just redid the office. But they just redid the office?
You haven't met Dr. Birch before, but you need to go in the office. Yeah, they redid the front office area.
Do you think they have any extra dentist chairs that they're looking to get rid of?
You want one?
I think that would be really cool to have in a living room. Just with the light coming down, too. That's a cool vibe, gang. Tell me it isn't. Tell me it isn't to have a dentist chair in your living room.
I hope you asked Stephanie about this.
I was thinking about that last time I was getting my teeth cleaned. Could they put TV monitors up there or something?
Wouldn't that be something?
Something to.
So while you're in agony, you got a game.
Well, even just for cleaning, you're not in agony.
Well, no, but it's uncomfortable.
But you just something to watch as opposed to just staring into that light.
That's
like
not a knock on the profession either. It's just part of the process.
But there's nothing negative if you go to Dr. Birch's office. Go to Birch Orthodontics, birchorthodontics.com, BURCH, orthodontics.com is the website. And again, great FSU fans in that office. Dr. Birch is a huge knoll and just really good people, great customer service, and they'll take care of you.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's get to, so I want to ask this question first because I saw it. I took just a brief glance at the questions on my way over.
Okay.
Let's go.
And by the way, the prompt went up this morning, Corey, on Twitter.
Oh, by the way, mine went up. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I think I posted mine at like 4:40 in the morning.
And still beat me. Congratulations.
Unbelievable.
You know, that's a sure sign you're in your 50s.
Mm-hmm. Waking up at 4 in the morning.
Well, I wake up to start my day at 5 o'clock in the morning. Corey may have only been in bed for an hour at that point, but the waking up for no effing reason in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep, old people unite.
Well, you've got an extreme case of it, but yeah, no question.
Buddy, it's not. There's nothing like it. I try to do the right thing, go to bed at like 10:30 or something, and I wake up at 1 o'clock. I'm like wide awake.
Maybe try staying up till like all hours like Corey. Start trying to stay up till 2 a.m.
Change your life.
Yeah. It would change my life, all right. The kids get up either way. I'm getting up to help out in the mornings. It would be tough. Hey, I wanted to start with this one because I think it's interesting. Burke said, thanks, Burke, as always, who is your, quote, crush team in the playoffs? Not necessarily the one you think will win, but the one that looks like you would like FSU to look. That's a well-worded question, too, Burke, as always, buddy. Corey, you're first. Who's your crush team in these playoffs?
I mean, is it fair for me because my alma mater is in the playoffs?
Well, it's also the right answer.
Yeah.
Because of the way they play, and they're better now than they were
I
at
was
the
going to
start of the
say,
year,
over the last 4 or 6 weeks, for sure.
And they're the one team where like Kirby, like Gunnar Stockton proved nothing last year. He played in the playoff against Notre Dame, was horrible. They were horrible on offense. And Kirby's like, I'm good. I don't need to go to the portal and get a quarterback. I'm set. This kid might be good. He might not be. We're going to be really good either way. And it turns out Gunnar Stockton is at least a good quarterback. Maybe he's more than that. We'll see. But, yeah, man, the way they fly around, the way they just, on defense especially, that's what I want it to look like. Because Indiana looks great defensively too. I want it to look great defensively with NFL players. I remember days where that used to happen in Tallahassee, gang. They used to have great defenses filled with NFL players.
I suspected you might say Georgia, and I was with you on that. Ira, were you going to jump on the James Madison train?
No,
you're not going to do it.
Not them or Tulane, surprisingly enough. I'm curious, man. I don't know that there's a team that I love everything about. There's
seldom.
There's just, sometimes there are teams like that, but I don't think there's a team in this group because I love Oklahoma's defense. Not sure I trust them.
I like Oregon, and I want to add this. I mean, they have flaws too.
Yeah.
You're right. And I'm a Dan Lanning guy. I am. But this version of Oregon, good at quarterback, good at running back.
Malik Benson, guys. How about Malik Benson? He's a revelation.
He's really good when put in a position to succeed.
Well, and I thought he was good last year, but he wasn't this good even earlier this season for them. Like, the last month, it's like he's become a different dude.
Well,
congratulations.
Yeah, they figured out a way to use him.
Yeah.
But they're a really physical team, and they have a very good defense. They got a tight end that I'm in love with. They're very physical. They're, for years and years and years and years, the way we vision Oregon football is to not be what this group is. This group is a hit you kind of group. Also, they got to be really happy with their draw. This works out well for them the way this sets up at Oregon. They ought to make a nice run. But I like the way they're built. I'm not saying they're going to win it all, but if I wasn't picking Georgia, I think I would take Oregon because I like the quarterback more than I like Ohio State's quarterback.
And I like Lanning's edge, man. That
too.
Dude's got it. Edge. Now, maybe, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. Maybe enhanced by, some substances. I don't know. There's something about that guy. He's on an edge that's different than everybody else.
It reminds me of when Sean Payton was coaching New Orleans and was hopped up on goofballs and had to take time away from the game because his eyes were always yellow and he was staring off into space Twitter. He was like shaking around like that guy.
It's something. There's something going on there. But Brent Venables sometimes looks like that too. But
yep.
it's there is something about them. I like the way. I definitely like the way Indiana plays. I just don't know if I believe in them. Again, the defense is great. I still think that Ohio State kind of crapped the bed in that game for whatever reason. Tom suggested maybe that they built up their Michigan game or whatever.
I needed to win that one. Yeah.
So maybe there was kind of a letdown there. But anyway, I don't know, man. I like Texas A&M until the game that I don't know what happened with them in South Carolina. Texas A&M, there's been times where I think, man, they may win the national title, but that first half against South Carolina.
Well, Marcel Reed can be great or awful, and so I get
he's
worried.
on.
When he's right, he's really good. When he's bad, you're like, ooh, this is problematic. Reminds me a little bit of Jennings last year with SMU, where you're kind of like, I don't know, man. But when he's good, he's really good, and you're like, oh, great, he's on today. We're going to get our ass kicked until he wasn't. So you worry about the inconsistency there. The upside's really good. I do love Elko as a coach. And I think he was a great hire, and they didn't spend that much money on him. Now they've subsequently given him more, but I do. They've got great personnel. But yeah, Corey, I'm with you. I would choose Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's the pick.
Great.
Although I think Ohio State's defense is phenomenal, and they have more NFL guys than any of these other teams. And I'd like our defense.
Good for them.
I'd like our defense to look something like that at some point.
Yeah, I guess the right answer to the question is there's probably 6 of these teams that we would love Florida State to look like.
Well, maybe all of them.
Yeah. Man, maybe all of them.
Maybe all of them.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there's about 50 teams I'd like Florida State to look like.
65 even. Yeah. Richard writes, does the success of Indiana and to a lesser extent Vanderbilt indicate that recruiting 5 stars isn't that important? No, it does not indicate that. But it does indicate that the talent has been more widely dispersed through college football with the changing rules, unlimited transfers, and the ability for everybody, at the very least, to pay their players a competitive salary, because everybody was part of the House settlement and everybody had at least $20.5 million to be able to pay players. You do find that it's harder to stockpile talent, because if I'm a backup 4-star or 5-star at Georgia and I'm not playing, I'm out if I want to be, because somebody's going to pay for me.
Yeah, somebody else can pay me, and they'll give me an opportority to play.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here anymore.
Yeah,
so that's why Georgia's not, and that may be why Georgia maybe wasn't as strong earlier in the year, because Corey, they had to figure some stuff out,
especially defensively,
because guys they lost.
Yeah, they weren't very good defensively to start the season, and then they wrecked Georgia Tech, they wrecked Alabama. He's got that thing rolling on defense, and that's a lot of 5 stars. Maybe not 5 stars, but that's a lot of high 4 stars in NFL guys. Now, look, you don't have to be – for one season, you don't have to have a bushel of great recruits. But to sustain something, I feel like you kind of do. Or you have to have the best coach on earth like Cignetti. Those are the 2 options.
It's also turned out that KJ Bolden can play, guys.
Yeah, we saw that the first day he was on the field at Georgia, which was almost immediate. And I remember being very pissed about that, Ira, when I saw him make a play in his first game ever. I'm like, well,
would have been nice to keep him.
Can't ever close on those guys. Garrett says, I know I live in a fairy tale world, but shouldn't FSU be looking to start a new conference with Notre Dame, Miami, and other disgruntled schools to form a super league? They could tie in Notre Dame's NBC deal, and NBC could join the college football landscape as a big-time player. Funny.
I'm all about it. Notre Dame, I don't think is going to give up a chunk of the pie, though, which is kind of the problem with Notre Dame. I saw something on Twitter just now that I thought was interesting, and it might be something of the future where maybe it's an actual contractual agreement or maybe it's just a handshake agreement. But these big-time programs like Florida State having like a feeder program that's like just take one, FIU or Troy, becomes their feeder program.
Minor league systems developing. Okay.
Sort of. It's like it's not a contractual thing, but it's like the guys that are really good at Troy, Florida State gets first refusal, and Florida State pays Troy a certain amount of money to get right of first refusal if they want one of the players off Troy's team. It might be where this is all going, man, because who knows where this thing is going. There
used to be kind of an informal arrangement where coaches would place players at smaller schools, certainly junior colleges.
That is correct.
I'm going to come back and get this guy in 2 years, but I'll place him at your junior college as long as you keep everybody else out while he's here, because I'm coming back to get him and I don't want to fight everybody else.
Yeah, there were similar forms of shenanigans going on in the world of college football, the likes of which Corey just described, already in place for many, many years. Arrangements, wink, wink, nod, nod. Here you go, John. Here's $60 grand. Let's make sure that Keith isn't talking to Florida or whatever that might be. But
wouldn't it benefit Troy though too, in the sense that like you can tell a kid, look, if you come here, we have an agreement with Florida State or Auburn or whoever, and if you're good enough here, you can go to Auburn and Alabama. You have a track to get there. Just throwing it out there, guys.
Well, they're doing it. They're doing that now without agreements with certain schools. But that's how some of the better, not even just the FCS schools, but some of the Group of 5 schools are recruiting. Listen, man, our guys come here. You come here, and you're going to go to Michigan next. We develop you, and you'll get. They
rewarded. Have to, because they're going to get rated either way.
Right.
So they're better off figuring out.
Into it.
Yeah, you got to lean into it. You're all going to get plucked. If the kid's any good at all, he's gone. Noel Scribe made me laugh. He wrote, "One kick for your life, Jake Weinberg or Young Ho Koo."
Young Wei Koo. Get it right, Jeff. Young Wei Koo.
I call him Young Ho Koo because that's how it's spelled.
Koo, Kachoo.
Young
Probably Koo, but it's close. Weinberg at the end of the year was that was troubling.
The point is taken that they're going to have to work on Jake Weinberg.
But they will. They'll turn him around. We've seen it right here. That's the one thing this staff can do.
That's the one thing you believe in.
Buddy. I believe in it. Michael, evaluate the situation, say all the right things, everything down the heart. Next thing you know, Weinberg is Fitzgerald. He's in the league kicking ass, making game-winning kicks for Carolina.
What's crazy is coming out of camp, when going into the season, people in the program were like, man, that kid is nails. I mean, we're not worried about him. And early in the season, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he looked really good.
And then, man, I don't know what happened.
I still love his leg, but he clearly lost confidence.
But even the ones he missed, the ones he missed, I think there was one against NC State. There was one against Florida, obviously. He's not even hitting them well. In warm-ups, he hits them. You wouldn't believe how great he hits them in warm-ups. But in the game, it felt like, that's troubling, but he's also a young guy, and you hope he figures that out.
It's the yips. Like you're piping it down the middle of the fairway, 300 yards, and all of a sudden you're.
But he's not kicking them 90 degrees that way. A lot of them are close. They're just not with authority down the middle.
They got less close, Ira, as the year went on. They got a little less close. The suspense was gone about 2 feet off the foot on a couple of those late in the year. I'm like, well, that doesn't look like it's good from here. R.A. Noel writes, gentlemen, yay, soccer.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Nice.
If bowl games pay the players directly, giving more to the winners, would they survive? Well,
it would help.
I do think we're going to a place that if these bowl games are to survive, first of all, we're going to parse them down from 40-something that we're at now to back to the way it used to be way back in the early 2000s when we had 23.
When going to a bowl meant something.
God, dog it, Ira. Back in my day, we walked into that stadium with pride.
Yeah.
Ourselves up by the bootstraps and took it over to the Gator Bowl. It meant something, G-Dit.
Well, and then the other theory that people are throwing out there people have been throwing out there for a while, the idea of moving to the bowls to the beginning of the season.
Beginning of the season. I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
And I've heard a bunch of people tell me that they love the idea in spring of playing more of these, like what would, maybe not a bowl, but a matchup that would have taken place. You all meet in the spring and get after it, so the spring game becomes something. Do you think that flies?
Do you think Shreveport's nicer in April, Corey?
Oh, it's so beautiful there. The water is a different kind of brown in April, coming off the lake. It hits the sun just right.
We've got some loyal listeners in the Shreve that you just piss on every time we talk about.
Man, they are great people. They are the salt of the earth. That city, though.
Living in Shreveport.
Oh boy! I was going to say though,
we don't have to.
Couldn't you just make a contract that it's a 13-game contract?
Yeah, I brought that up in the bonus hour coming up after this hour. I thought soon enough we are going to see that.
Because I will say this: we say the bowl structure is dead or it's dying, but the ratings say otherwise. And everybody likes to gamble during the holidays.
And I like having college football during December.
You're damn right you do. We have days off. I want to watch the games. Yeah.
I do think there will be a will to keep the bowl system more meaningful than it is right now, and it's going to take some creative thinking. But you've got to get these play, and that's why they moved the portal back to January. So these guys weren't leaving in the middle of bowl practices or declaring for the portal. So I do think there's a way to save the bowls. You just got to make it part of a contract that you played the entire season. You played the postseason game. The portal's going to be there in 5 days when you're done with the Sun Bowl or whatever, and you can go there. But yeah, man, I still think people watch these games crazily, and they still bet on them. So as long as ESPN has that property and the ratings are there, then I think the Bulls will survive. I just hope they survive in a better way than we're dealing with right now.
Brad wants to know if they're going to clean house or are they fibbing. Tony says, why is Josh Storms not brought up more in the who needs to be let go conversation? We always seem to be the weaker team, always seem to be getting pushed around. And then he wants to add to the people that he wants fired with JP and Tokars. Let's start with the Storms thing. I don't know enough about that field to say whether or not Florida State is strong enough or not strong enough. I know the way they play, and I've described that in flowery language, and that upset some people, and I heard back from them. I may have crossed the line when I said some things about their lack of aggressiveness against Florida. But I think sometimes it's more a byproduct of what they don't do and what they don't initiate as collectively as a defense or an offense. I think stylistically it is frustrating, and we watch as the season goes on, and I lament that. But I don't know if that's the byproduct of just not being big enough and strong enough, because I think they have a lot of big, strong athletes. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's impossible for any of us to know. And a lot of times in the strength and conditioning world, what ends up happening is you kind of go from different extremes to different extremes. Going back to, again, 25 years ago, when Bobby Bowden hired John Jost as the strength coach, it was very different than what Van Hallinger's program before. And then when Jost was kind of he come from Nebraska where they had one approach. Then when he left, Jimbo made Todd Stroud the strength coach.
Lakewood High School.
Todd Stroud's not even like a trained strength expert, but he was a football guy and a football coach. And Jimbo wanted to get somebody to get the guys to go in there and work hard. And like that was the focus. And then they've gone in different directions. Vic Floria took it a different way. So those guys all have
did a lot of hopping.
Yeah, towel waving.
Towels. They all have different approaches, but the question is usually that's the staff that's with your players the most during the offseason.
Yeah.
So it is important. So back to the point we were making earlier is Mike Norvell looks at this mess that's been going on for the last 2 years. And if the Josh Storms has been with you since Arizona State and Memphis and you believe in him, that's fine. But man, you got to look at it. You have to look at
everything at this point. Yeah.
For sure. And as the assistant coaches he mentioned, yeah, they all have to be looked at. And listen, man, I don't know that I do not think they're done. There's a couple different questions there. Have we seen? No, I think there's more things that are happening. Certainly more things are happening in the front office. And I also think you're going to see more movement in the coaching staff. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Well, I want to piggyback on this, and I'm going to ask you a question. And Corey, you may know the answer as well, so it's open to either one of you. I haven't gone and looked. Ira, you usually do this for us. When is, for example, Papuchis' contract up?
There's a group of coaches. He's one of them. That's their contract expire in February.
So they could just let him go. He could just.
They could be let go whenever.
No, why would they? Why would they?
Well played, sir.
No, they certainly could. And they those discussions may have already happened, but if they haven't hired their replacement, and if those people haven't got new jobs yet,
right.
They wouldn't come.
It
Necessarily
wouldn't come out yet. Yeah, it wouldn't come out yet. But we may be hearing that. Yeah. The guys whose deals are up, they don't have to fire anybody. They just we're not re-upping you.
Now the $1 million question, and we talked about this last night on the Smash. Well, it's a $4 or $5 million question. We don't know the answer to it.
Gus. Take it on down the road, Gus.
Well, here's the thing.
Enjoy that retirement.
Again, just to kind of recap, the reason we've been kind of working under the premonition or the presumption that he may be leaving is because he's kind of made it clear to people in the industry that he was considering other jobs. And he
tried for the Arkansas job.
Yeah, and I think there's other jobs he was talking to people with. So I don't think he's thrilled with the situation here. Well, maybe going back to be an assistant coach isn't what he wanted, whatever. Who knows what it is. But if he decides he wants to stay, and if they don't want him to stay, then they would have to fire him, and then they'd have to pay him a lot of money. He's got to buy out too. He got a 3-year deal.
Yes, of course he did.
So I think it's $4.5 million. So would you just run it back with Gus? I don't know if he did anything that was fireable, but I also don't know if that's the direction you want to go in. So we have to see how that plays out. And that part of whatever happens there is going to have a lot to do with what happens with the other assistant coaches on offense.
It also has to do with who you get in the portal. Again, I don't know what kind of quarterback you're going to attract with Gus Malzahn, or if you're going to get any good receivers. Heck, look at the running back rotation. Would any running backs want to come here? That's where you'd like some clarity quickly. If Gus is back, just say he's back. And if he's gone, let us know.
No doubt. But I guess the question is, if if he does want to come back, then you have to decide, are you okay with that, or do you want to make a change?
Well, yeah, and I would say go ahead and make a change. Rip off that little Band-Aid.
D.R. Watson writes, Dear Notre Dame, welcome to the Snub Club. Yours much more deserving than FSU's 2023. Oh, yeah, no, ours is cataclysmically worse than Notre Dame's.
They don't belong in the same club.
Yeah,
they don't belong. Thank you, TR, but that's not the same club.
Not at all. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. That Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Siri, tell me a joke. How many apples grow on an apple tree? All of them.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Hey, it's me, your car. That crack on your windshield, yeah, it's not a good look. People are starting to stare.
Don't let your car be embarrassed. Call Seminole Auto Glass for fast, professional auto glass replacement. We'll fix chips, cracks, and your shattered pride.
Please, for both of us.
Call 850-539-4527 or visit SeminoleAutoglass.com today. Seminole Auto Glass, saving cars
and their egos.
One windshield at a time. Better call Seminole.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Facing Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old Funny Paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like ABC Flooring, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, Krispy Kreme, or Keith Lawson Services, providing professional services and maintenance for your home's most critical systems for over 39 years. If you need air conditioning, heating, or plumbing repairs, you will receive an upfront written quote, and the job will be done on time by the area's most advanced, highly trained professionals. Keith Lawson Services, Florida license CMC 125456 and CFC 1429-197.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Get back to some questions here. And this one, I get the sentiment here, but this is going to be an easy answer. Dylan says, why does the FSU media even act like we're capable of getting a top-tier quarterback through the portal? We have 7 wins the last 2 years. Why would anybody come here? Well, people do a lot of things for money. You can overpay that. Now, I don't think it's that simple to solve all your woes with money, but I do think that is one answer. The other part of that is, Ira and you and I were just talking about offensive coordinator. If Gus were to retire and they were to bring in another offensive coordinator, oftentimes now we're seeing a system by which this guy brings in their player. They bring in the guy. I'm hiring this guy. He's going to bring his quarterback with him. That's another way that you could go about this. They are going to need Gus to retire. I am speculating here. It seems to me like they're in the midst of a game of chicken. Gus is going to be owed $4 million or thereabouts if he were to be let go. I don't think they want to do that. Gus isn't just going to walk away from that money. If he's miserable and unhappy and wants to leave, I'm sure then maybe you're in a position to try to broker a deal where you get $1.5 million or $1.8 million or whatever it might be, but then he would have to acquiesce and want to do that, and I'm not so sure that his agent would let him do that. Who knows?
Yeah, but that needs to get resolved quickly because anything else, certainly again with the portal opening up, it's a huge.
But I would say that a top tier quarterback. Go find one. You don't have to go get Mensa from Duke or Carson Beck from Georgia. The guy that's probably going to win the Heisman is either a dude that was at Cal or a guy that was in New Mexico State. Now, Mendoza was more highly thought of than Pavia, but they're all over the place. You played the kid at Virginia who would have been better than what you brought in. I don't know if he's top tier. He's better tier than what you brought in. There are quarterbacks all over the place. That's what you've got to get that right. So you've got to figure out who's going to be making that call, because I will wholeheartedly agree that I don't know that Mike Norvell needs to be the one making the call on the next quarterback because his track record is
you're ready
not
to
great.
You're ready to make that declaration.
I'm going to go ahead and make that declaration.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. By the way, when you go back and look at so many of these transfers, to your point, Corey and Ira, you get guys that come in and they're not necessarily household names, or they're not rock stars in that they project to the NFL. They're just really good college quarterbacks. The perfect example of that is Haynes King. Yep. I mean, that kid is a warrior. He's an elite college quarterback. I don't think he projects to the NFL hardly at all.
And may not have fit in about 50 other schools.
But was really good there in that system with that OC. And, man, is he a tough son of a bitch. You mentioned Mendoza and Pavia. You can go on down the list, though. I mean, hell, go all the way back to the Chambliss kid.
Something I was thinking about
recently. He was a D2 kid. Chambliss came from the D2 ranks.
Yeah.
Something I was thinking about recently that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to quarterbacks. Certainly, I'll take blame for this too, but it doesn't in general. I just go back to one thing that Jimbo said that I thought was super smart early on when he had Ponder at quarterback. And he said this 1,000 times. When your quarterback is tough, your team is tough. And those dudes we're talking about here are all tough kids. And that gets lost, man. And this is one thing I would say about Tommy. And this is kind of my last thoughts about Tommy and why Florida State should not bring him back next year if he got another year of eligibility. And I think the kid is physically tough, and I think he did a lot of things for this team. But from a standpoint of understanding your job is to win football games, that's where he didn't meet the standard. And for him to say after that Florida game
that he thought he went out with a bang,
that he played well, and it's like, man, your job is to win the football game, and that's the only thing that matters. So that, and then you go back through the course of the season and some of the decisions he made, when to run out of bounds, things like that. And again, I'm not saying he's not a tough kid. He is. But in terms of being the heart and soul of your football team, and that's what a quarterback if you've got a good team, man, that's what your quarterback is. That's where he fell short. And you got to find that. That's as important as accuracy and arm strength and all that. Find a guy that your team is going to rally around. That, to me, is huge.
And a guy that's won Games. Tommy had come close to winning games, but his best performance ever was in a loss. And in hindsight, again, it's easy for me to see after we watched it for 12 games. He was a 500 quarterback that played about 500 football again this year. Go get someone that's used to winning games, that hates to lose. Remember, Tommy, again, this has turned into an attack on Tommy, but after the Virginia game, he was telling everyone to smile. It'll be okay. It's like, man, no. You want to be pissed off when you lose games. Just because the offense played well, the team lost. And you short-hopped a screen pass that was a walk-in touchdown in that game that cost them the game. Now, he made some great plays too, but I don't know, man. Just go get a kid that is used to winning games and
But
hates to lose.
I think, man, I think it's a chicken or the egg thing. I think the winnings are a byproduct of a player who's tough and refuses to lose.
Also, I just think he wasn't an accurate enough passer. I mean,
that too. That's
My point is Haynes King's not either.
No, but he's a better passer than Tommy. Your point's made. Gentlemen, what player do you feel was not utilized this past season to the fullest extent of his abilities? This is Ambassador to Florida, and he says he's going to go with Amari.
Who?
Amari Williams?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Amari Williams is and again, it's because there's so many big picture issues. It's hard to kind of nail. It's kind of hard to look at some of the smaller issues, but I think it's fair to bring up. Like, do they just need to pick a side of the football for him and just say, okay, this is what you're going to do all offseason and focus on it? Because I don't think you got a whole lot out of him. You didn't get as much out of him as defensive end as you want, probably because, he played tight end earlier.
I also don't think he's big enough, really, to be dominant at either position. And when we goes back to the Storms conversation, I'm glad you said it, Jeff, because we're not smart enough to know. Is that a strength issue or just a talent issue? But it's not our job to know. Like,
I would interrupt you. I think we're smart enough to know. We're just not professionals in that arena.
Well, we're not. We don't access the information either.
But we don't know. Is this guy is he really strong in all the things that they test him at? But it just doesn't trigger on game days. That's not a Josh Storms issue, or is he just not strong enough? And we don't know the workouts that they do, especially in the offseason, but in the season. Unlike we can tell good linebacker play, or bad linebacker play, I should say. We all know what that looks like.
Tons of it.
Yeah, so we know what that looks like, and we know what a kicker looks like when he can't kick a field goal straight, all that stuff. But strength, that's a question mark because we don't really know the ins and outs of that profession. That said, James Williams wasn't big enough, clearly. Amari Williams, to me, doesn't seem big enough, and I know he's only 19, but he's been in the system for 2 years. It's like, is that a Josh Storms issue? Is that a particular individual issue? And it doesn't really matter. Mike Norvell needs to figure it out and get bigger, stronger guys on his football team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Amari Williams is going to be a DeMarcus Walker type player, but I think he can be a big-time pass rusher. I mean, he's a super talented kid.
Yeah, I know.
I also thought he had an elite talented tight end, but it's just figuring out what it is, figure out what it's going to be, because I don't think the two-way approach is the answer. But back to the question, people in the chat are bringing up Landon Thomas, another tight end who just kind of faded off the map, even though
we were excited about both the players we've just mentioned.
Yeah. There's a bunch of players, man. There's I'm trying to think of some other guys.
Chroma, I think
Jaden Boggs was one I was really hopeful for,
but he got hurt a lot, and that sucks for him. I'm gonna go with Chroma.
Yeah,
God dog it, guys. He looked good. He showed promise. I just do not get the running back rotation. It's one of the many things that pisses me off about watching what seems to be a lack of a.
Watching him run against Florida, the carries he did get, I was reminded. It's almost like he looked like he was surprised when he had success, and I just feel like I can't imagine his confidence. I'm sure
if
in high school,
more reps.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
It's like if he could have worked through some things, he might have been a different guy.
It's like getting mad at a pinch hitter because he's in a slump, but he gets 3 at-bats a week. That's hard to get into a rhythm and get any confidence when you never get a shot at it.
We got asked a question regarding Colton Joseph, the quarterback at Old Dominion. There's he threw for 4,200 plus yards. A lot of people love that kid. I have not watched Old Dominion play this year, and I do watch a lot of teams play.
I watch his highlights. I watch his.
I'm familiar with that. I knew that about you.
I did watch his highlights last night, actually. They were on my algorithm, weirdly.
I bet his highlights looked good.
They did. I don't know the lowlights. So here's they opened with Indiana this year. They lost 27-14. The first play of the game, he ripped off. But the first play of the game, he ripped off a 75-yard touchdown run. Their last touchdown was a 60-yard touchdown run by him. In the middle, he threw for 99 yards and 3 interceptions. Again, that's probably the best defense in the country. But he ran for 900 yards, and when you watch him run, the difference between him and the last 2 guys, really the last 3 guys that have been the starter here, is he finishes the run. I did not see one slide. I did not see one just trucking it out of bounds. He's a bigger kid, and he likes to inflict damage. Now, he did that at Old Dominion. Maybe it's different when he's playing Alabama and Clemson. But there's some stuff to be intrigued by there because he's a guy that wins games and he put up a ton of yards and he's a dual threat guy.
Well, the stats are gaudy, so everybody's going to look to that. I don't know. I have to go watch him play. I can't really weigh in on this, but I know that I've already looked at the potential 2026 class of kids that you could get in the portal. And there's a lot of intriguing. If you could get CJ Bailey to leave NC State, I would do it.
Wait, the point is, we all talk about Carson Beck or Mendoza.
Yeah, you don't have to have.
There are a bunch of dudes that move around and have success. I mean, Haynes King again was bouncing around until he found this system, the right fit to kind of he wasn't.
I liked him at A&M, but then he got hurt, and that whole situation was weird.
But it wasn't like he was amazing there.
No,
he found the perfect fit, and so there's other, and there, the kid at Virginia. I mean, he's been to like 5 different schools. So it's but it's how much of it is figuring out who it is and how they fit in your system. And Mike Norvell has not been able to do it. So you like to think whoever the offensive coordinator is can, but we don't even know who that's going to be.
Gus, retirement sounds good, buddy. Think about retirement with all the money you've made, Gus.
Nobody ever complains about retirement.
No, Gus, think about the beaches, the travel. I mean, I don't want to cross any lines here, but you've got enough money to do whatever you want to do, Gus. I'm just saying.
They'd probably pay him $2 to retire, right? Instead of 4.8 as a buyout to fire him. Maybe they'd have a little settlement like there.
If he'd let you, he could just say, "No, I'm not taking it. Fire me."
Or, I love this job. Did you not see how invested I am in this program? Every time I talk to the media, this is my new home.
He's not going to say that. He's going to say, "You're right, guys. I want to retire." Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
A NIMS middle school student was arrested Monday after bringing a makeshift knife to campus, according to a Leon County Sheriff's Office press release. A school resource deputy found the knife constructed from a piece of saw blade with a wrapped handle in the 7th grader's backpack. The 13-year-old was charged with possession of a dangerous weapon on school property and was taken to the Juvenile Assessment Center. Monday's arrest comes about 2 weeks after another 13-year-old NIMS middle school student was taken into custody after a deputy found an 8-inch steak knife in their backpack. 2 other middle schoolers at different schools have also been arrested recently for bringing weapons to campus. On 2 separate occasions, 2 different 12-year-old Griffin middle school students were taken into custody, one for bringing a BB gun and another for bringing a metal airsoft pistol to campus. LCSO encouraged parents and guardians to speak with their kids about the serious consequences of bringing weapons to school. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 57 this afternoon under clear skies, northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, 34. Highs around 65 tomorrow. Clear skies. Clear skies and dry Thursday and Friday. Upper 50s Thursday, upper 60s by Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 55.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Do you know if you live in a hurricane evacuation zone? You can find out right now by entering your address at FloridaMakeAPlan.com. If you're in an evacuation area, a mobile home, or somewhere that floods easily, you're going to need to be able to get out if an evacuation order is issued. Also, know your home. Can it withstand strong winds and heavy rain? Understanding your risk now helps you make the right decisions when the storm approaches. Know your zone, know your home. Visit FloridaMakeAPlan.com today.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Division of Emergency Management and the Florida Association of Broadcasters.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
By the way, Corey, I want to give you credit. Somebody on here named Mike saw that you posted the Facebook prompt at 4:47 a.m. They wrote, Corey, it's 4:47 a.m. I have questions.
Daddy had to pee.
What were you doing, Mike? Why were you up?
What were you doing? I bet he was one of those early risers like you. I had to go pee and remembered, oh, yeah, I haven't asked that question yet.
This is a great question, and I thought about it, and he is going to be a superstar when he retires. I mean, a superstar. DJ says,
Jameis?
How come Jameis is not on the Heisman House commercials? He's TV gold. Well, we know the original reason he wasn't.
Yes.
But what are we doing now? I mean, that guy is an amazing entertainer.
He is.
And that's why he keeps getting hired.
He's going to be the next Charles Barkley, I think. You know, I mean,
he's got a chance.
That lovable, but also a smart, funny guy. Yeah, man, I think he's everything he's doing off the field right now is just killing it.
It'll be interesting with his brother being at Florida State, how often he'll be in Tallahassee. It'd be really cool if Jonah ends up being a player too, because then it gets that name back in the spotlight. And, Jameis has made a ton of money over the years, and he could go sponsor a quarterback, especially his brother's a wide receiver, right?
I love that Corey loves spending former Florida State players' money.
It's his favorite thing in the world.
He spends Buster Posey's money, J.D. Drew's money, any former football player's money. You are good at it, Corey.
Trying
all their money.
Does he want his kid brother to have success or not? Go buy a quarterback, Jameis.
Steve writes, how absurd was it for Reese Davis to claim that this playoff included the most controversy?
That guy just sucks.
Come on, Reese.
He also, when he was explaining when he was trying to explain the Alabama loss to a bad Florida State team, he's like, look, I know their record says they had a bunch of losses, but they're still 30th in the FPI or what? They're top 30 in the power rankings. It's like,
now
okay,
Reese
man,
is propping up Florida State.
You don't have to prop up Alabama. It's fine that they stayed in. It's fine that Notre Dame's out, but the committee is ridiculous for not putting Miami and Notre Dame together as a head-to-head option until the last ranking. But the committee has always been a joke ever since game control.
Yeah, and I've said again, there is not a perfect system. There's always going to be controversy. I would never, if I were part of that committee, want to be the spokesman. You're going to have you can't win.
You
thankless. Cannot win.
Pretty thankless.
It's awful. And especially if you end up with a scenario where, empirically, you can't really say that for certain this team over that team. It is just an opinion, and people are going to disagree, and then you're screwed. But that's going to happen in a sport where, again, hundreds of teams, disparate schedules. Good luck.
Well, especially when you're at the end of the day, you're going to end up having to justify this one conference why you're giving them every benefit of the doubt and why they're getting preference over everybody else, but without being able to come out and say the truth, which is we're partners with them.
Well, look, their mission is to protect the Big Ten and the SEC first and foremost. That is their mission. And the committee's mission is to protect those assets. We know this through their actions. It's very obvious that's what they're trying to do.
Well, yeah, now, but who controls the playoffs? Is it ESPN?
Well,
no, ESPN bought into
they're a big part of it.
They're part of it.
Does Fox air games too, or is it just ESPN?
No, I don't think so.
No,
well, that's what I'm saying. So I think their primary interest is the ESPN properties. They'll never say that as a committee, but that's the truth.
I don't know how much they want to protect the ACC.
Well, right. You know what I mean by the ESPN properties.
But I'm saying that isn't an ESPN property. Yeah, they have one that they care a little bit more about than the other. That's for sure.
And it's not like they don't want the best teams, but when they, at the end of the day, they would. I mean, I think they would love it if the SEC teams all had great resumes and they didn't have to make excuses. But then they end up having to, but they can't say the truth, which is they're going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, the other part of that is even if you say, okay, look, we think the SEC and the Big Ten are the two best conferences. I do too. And I do tend to give them the benefit of the doubt over marginal conferences with certainly I'd give them the benefit of the doubt over James Madison. But the point would be this, is you have to be so much more, I think, on it week to week if you're going to have that silly TV show. as to not have to maneuver the way they do at the end. That's why you set yourself up for the conspiratorial talk, is because you do something absurd, like have Notre Dame ranked 8 spots ahead of Miami with the exact same record when they've played each other. And then for 4 weeks, we watch this, and then all of a sudden it flips at the end. Look, I think Miami should be in over Notre Dame. And also, I don't think a team that makes its conference championship game. Now, I know that is seemingly only true in the SEC and the Big Ten, but not the other conferences. Right. Okay, fine. They screwed BYU, but they're not going to screw Alabama. Got it. But I would not penalize teams for making their conference championship game, or else the conference championship games are gone. And that's another mission, right, is to preserve the money made from those games.
A few people in the chat are saying, it is, all the games are on Disney, except there are some on TNT, but there's no Fox involved in the playoff game.
But what bothers you, too, about the conference championship thing is Florida State was expressly punished for the way they looked at a conference championship game.
Yeah, they'll tell you it's the Florida game, but yes.
Yeah, but they're wrong, because after the Florida game, they were still ranked where they were ranked. And after the Louisville game, they went down. So there's no rhyme or reason. Yeah, it's all the maneuvering and the puppeteering and all that.
If it hadn't worked out the way it worked out, where they had to get Alabama in because Georgia lost, like that's the thing. Like they would love to not have to do the gymnastics they end up having to do, but then they end up having to do it because they're committed to that cause.
Remember, the crazier part of that gymnastics exercise that they engaged in, was to just suddenly throw Texas in there above,
which they felt like they had
to do that to get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because head-to-head mattered. What was even crazier is that putting Florida State between Alabama and Georgia. Like, look, if you don't think you can compete with Alabama because they're better than you, well, man, Georgia's better than you too. Florida State should have been 11th in that final ranking.
Well, we
not
said
5th.
this. If they were going to do it right, they would have just been unabashed and been like, look, we think you're so bad without Jordan that we're going to put you 12th. Right. And I actually would have more respect for that. I mean,
oddly, 5th is just, it was just all asinine. Sorry.
Really quick, Chris says, yay, sausage, with a big birch smile, fellas. I have a feeling Surtain's firing was due to his presence behind closed doors. It's kind of seemed like most of the attitudes that cost penalties in the game came from the secondary. I don't know. A lot of people have pointed out that they thought the secondary was undisciplined.
Yeah, I would not go so far as to say that it's like unbelievable that Patrick Surtain got removed from his duties.
I agree.
He was their best high school recruiter, though, so it looks odd. Hey, real quick, I was up at a friend's Christmas party over the weekend.
Were you drinking Tavello?
I was. My buddy Paul had a little Christmas gathering, kind of early.
Nothing wrong with early Christmas stuff.
We're okay with it. And opened up his fridge, all Tavello.
Nice.
I took a picture of it and tweeted it out.
5 different lines of Tavello brew. I was more interested in he didn't have the morning ride with the coffee blonde, which we like so much, but he did have the lager, which is awesome as well.
You love a morning ride, right?
Hey now.
Go to Tavello in Thomasville, Georgia. Basically, right before you get to downtown, they've got an awesome setup there.
They do.
Where they've got an outdoor tap room, which might be a little chilly for that now.
No, it's not. Not if you're a man.
But you can go to the tap room, and you also you can go get cans of it at the store right there, and then they're also adding locations in Thomasville as well. Tavello supports FSU. They're huge Knowles, and we support them.
We love Tavello. Do you think we could lure Luke Altmaier back? Had a good year for Illinois.
He's got to be out of eligibility, right?
Isn't he 31 years old?
Well, hey, I want a 31-year-old quarterback. You know what happened the last time we had an old quarterback?
Pretty good one. Pretty good.
Speaking of, like, Mendoza, I mean, that guy's, there's no way he's how old is he? He's got to be 26. I mean, just does not act like. I was trying to imagine him in a college locker room, and it's like Winky.
It was the best when we had Winky. They won. Yeah. It was great. Yeah. I'm trying to find Mendoza's age, but I cannot. No, I think he just looks old, Ira. I don't think he's actually
just the way he carries himself.
Hey, to wrap up with
the other one real quick. Real quick. Okay. The other thing about an old dude. Sorry, real quick. I was just on that topic, Corey. The Texas Tech linebacker that was originally a quarterback at Virginia.
A walk-on, yeah.
It's like married. He looks like he's 25. Anyway.
Yeah, and he's old, and he was a walk-on former quarterback that has turned into the best defensive player in the country. Sometimes you get lucky. It's not luck to evaluate. But I was going to say, because we were at the Warchant Christmas party over the weekend, and Steph's have you two made up to me and Jeff? And I'm like, I don't think we were ever arguing last. I mean, we were debating. It wasn't personal, and it wasn't a fight. And Jeff's like, yeah, we agree on most everything. There's a couple things we don't agree on. I was just going to say, I think the difference is you think there's probably a 0.8% chance that they're any good next year, right?
I don't know about 0.8. That's awfully low, Corey. I'd
What do you
say
think?
10 to 15% chance. Yeah.
Because I'm probably around 30.
Okay.
So that's the difference. That's just the difference. Is I think there's a 30% chance they could be pretty good. You think there's a 10%
Are you going to come in off the top rope and say 70% they're going to be good?
I'm closer to 30.
Okay.
But I'm closer to 30 than I'm 10.
I thought you were going to say closer to 90.
No.
I don't know what percent. I guess you guys don't listen to what I'm saying, which I understand. That's fine. But no, I do not think it's 70.
Yeah,
That's a good way to sum it up.
It's a good way of framing it, yeah. And also sometimes we disagree what's at the root of all of this, but there's nuance to all of this. And I told somebody the other day who texted me after they heard us all yelling at each other a week ago is that it's like, you think I'm going to let my opinion of Mike Norvell or Corey's or Ira's opinion about Mike Norvell get in the way of our friendship? And it's not going to get in the way of anything. It's a football opinion.
Well, and the last thing I would say about it is, because it came up on our message boards, is we end up in that conversation, Corey and I, because you were so adamant that it can't work.
Well, he should have been fired, and I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
The premise I'm working from, and I think Corey's working from, is, okay, well, they didn't fire him.
Right.
So what can you do to make this possible?
Right.
And so now you point out the reasons it's not going to work, and then we end up having to defend why it won't work.
And I hate doing that. I hate doing that.
It sounds like we're going to bat for Mike Norvell, and it's like, that's not what we're doing. We're just trying to.
You brought it up late, and we can't continue, unfortunately. Goodbye, Corey.
Subscribe to the Patreon, and we'll tell you all about it.
Well played, Ira. Until next time, peace. Bonus hour coming up next. Stay tuned.